Good day, everyone. We are on the second part of the topic and we will tackle about policy conduct, rules, or discretion. The Lucas critic exposed the need for new policy models that reflected the insights of rational expectations theory. Here, we explore the implications of the critic of a long-running debate among economists whether monetary policymakers should have the flexibility to adapt their policy to a changing situation or whether they should adopt rules, binding plans that specify how policy will respond or not respond to particular data such as unemployment and inflation. Discretion and the time inconsistency problem. Policymakers operate with discretion when they make no commitment to future actions, but instead make what they believe in that moment to be the right policy decision for the situation. Empowering policymakers to shape policy on the fly introduces complexities. The time inconsistency problem reveals the potential limitation of discretionary policy. The time inconsistency problem is the tendency to deviate from good long-run plans when making short-run decisions. Policymakers are always tempted to pursue a policy that is more expansionary than firms or people expect because such a policy would boost economic output in the short run. When workers and firms see a central bank, for example, pursuing discretionary expansionary policy, they will recognize that this is likely to lead to higher inflation in the future. They will therefore raise their expectations about inflation, driving wages and prices up. The rise in wages and prices will lead to higher inflation but may not result in higher output on average. Policymakers will have better inflation performance in the long run if they do not try to surprise people with an unexpectedly expansionary policy, but instead keep inflation under control. One way to do this is to abandon discretion and adopt rules to govern policy making. Next is the type of rules. In contrast to discretion, rules are essentially automatic. One famous type of rule advocated by Milton Friedman and his followers, who are known as monetarists, is the constant money growth rate rule, in which the money supply is kept growing at a constant rate regardless of the state of the economy. Rules of this type are non-activist because they do not react to economic activity. Monetarists advocate rules of this type because they believe that money is the sole source of fluctuations and because they believe that long and variable lags in the effects of monetary policy will lead to greater volatility in economic activity and inflation if policy actively responds to unemployment. Activist rules, in contrast, specify that monetary policy should react to the level of output as well as to inflation. The most famous rule of this type is the Taylor Rule. It specifies that the Fed should set its federal funds target rate by the formula that considers both the output gap, y minus y to the power of p, and the inflation gap, pi minus pi to the power of t. The case for rules. As our discussion of the time inconsistency problem suggests, discretionary monetary policy can lead to poor economic outcomes. If monetary policymakers operate with discretion, they will be tempted to pursue overly expansionary monetary policies to boost employment in the short run, but generate higher inflation and no higher employment in the long run. A commitment to a policy rule like the Taylor Rule or the constant monetary growth rate rule solves the time inconsistency problem because policymakers have to follow a set of plan that does not allow them to exercise discretion and try to exploit the short-run trade-off between inflation and employment. By binding their hands with the policy rule, policymakers can achieve desirable long-run outcomes. Another argument for rules is that policymakers and politicians cannot be trusted. The politicians who make fiscal policy are also not to be trusted because they have strong incentives to pursue policies that help them win the next election. They are therefore most likely to focus on increasing employment in the short run without worrying that their actions might lead to higher inflation further down the road. Their advocacy for expansionary policies can lead them to the so-called political business cycle, in which fiscal and monetary policy is expansionary right before elections with higher inflation following later. The next is the case for discretion. Although policy rules have important advantages, they do have serious drawbacks. First, rules can be too rigid because they cannot foresee every contingency. For example, almost no one could have predicted that problems in one small part of the financial system, subprime mortgage lending, would lead to the worst financial crisis in over 70 years, with such devastating effects on the economy. Being able to act flexibly using discretion can thus be the key to a successful monetary policy. The second problem with policy rules is that they do not easily incorporate the use of judgment. Monetary policy is as much an art as a science. Monetary policymakers need to look at a wide range of information in order to decide on the best source of for monetary policy. And some of this information is not easily quantifiable. Judgment is thus an essential element of good monetary policy, and it is very hard to write it into a rule. Only with discretion can monetary policy bring judgment to bear. Third, no one really knows what the true model of the economy is, and so any policy rule that is based on a particular model will prove to be wrong if the model is not correct. Discretion avoids the straitjacket that would lock into the wrong policy if the model that was used to derive the policy rule proved to be incorrect. Fourth, even if the model were correct, structural changes in the economy would lead to changes in the coefficients of the model. The Lucas critic, which points out that changes in policies can change the coefficients in macroeconometric models, is just one example. Discretions enable policymakers to change policy settings when an economy undergoes structural changes. Constrained discretion. The distinction between rules and discretion has strongly influenced academic debates about monetary policy for many decades. As we have seen, both rules and discretion are subject to problems, and so the dichotomy between rules and discretion may be too simple to capture the realities that microeconomic undisciplined approach that leads to policy that changes in the personal views of policymakers or with the direction of political winds. Ben Bernanke, now chairman of the Federal Reserve, along with the author of this textbook, came up with a name for this type of framework, the constrained discretion. Constrained discretion imposes a conceptual structure and inherent discipline to policymakers, but without eliminating all flexibility. It combines some of the advantages ascribed to rules with those that ascribe to discretion. That would be all for the part 2 of the discussion. Thank you for listening and watching. God bless.